Is everybody in? Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin.
Wake up! Is everyone ready? Test history.
Hard-hitting news. Alternative talk radio. Get ready, America, for Deadline Live with your host, Jack Blood. Deadline Live is a daily wrap-up for those too busy in the daily grind to discern and dissect the news, while the so-called mainstream media buries the truth. Jack Blood uncovers it, exposing the lies that our trusted government officials do not want us to know. And now, please welcome Jack Blood.
Exposing the truth that your trusted government officials and their controllers do not want you to know about. Welcome to another live, original edition of Deadline Live. Today is the 20th day of March, 2008. I'm Jack Blood, your narrator and radio gun, reporting for the next 2 hours. Joining us here in about 30 minutes on the program today is Tom James. He's with HempUSA.org. You've been hearing about him ad nauseum here in our commercial rotation for many, many months now on the GCN radio network. They have some fantastic remedies, and I just really wanted to have him on and break down exactly what is so good for you, what is so nutritious. Why is hemp so great for you, yet it is illegal to grow and to manufacture here in these United States? Of course, it has many other potential problem-solving applications in its biology. Hemp, of course, grown by George Washington, made into rope and so many other products used as fuel, a way to become independent for many farmers. Illegal here in this country for the most part, but Tom will come on and explain that to us and talk about some of the great healing properties of hemp, which I think is extremely important. If you can't tell, I'm a little under the weather today myself, and despite the fact I do everything I can to try to keep myself healthy, I am surrounded by sick people, so it's not always easy. Here's another opportunity, though, and I just been hearing the ad like you so many times, and they aren't officially a sponsor of our program, but I was very intrigued, like many of you, about it. So we'll have Tom James here coming up in about 20 minutes.
You're listening to GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
You know, it's amazing when people say to me, well, he was just breaking the law. If I wanted to break the law, why was I briefing Congress?
Probably know that I'm a big supporter of decriminalizing marijuana for medical uses. All of that is common sense, but when we're talking about hemp, we're talking about something completely different. Now, many of you have heard the ads periodically here on our program for HempUSA.org. They got the catchy jingles and the great advertising stints here on our program, and maybe like many of you, I was a little curious about the program that they offer, so I wanted to have Tom James on the program from HempUSA.org to break it down for us, to talk about the multiple uses of hemp and the natural remedies, the healing properties that are in hemp, which allegedly is still illegal to grow here in the United States of America, no matter where you live, and in many countries around the world. It is really a crime against humanity, as far as I can tell, but I wanted to bring Tom James on to talk about it. Tom, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. How are you doing, Jack?
I'm doing good. We all love your jingles, and it's very seductive, and I just wanted to know more about it, and I wanted you to kind of break it down in the segment or two that we have with you today. Let's talk about what hemp is, the medical properties of hemp, and how that can help my audience.
Well, first of all, maybe I should let them know where it's grown. It's grown in northern Canada, up in the Alberta, Saskatchewan area, so the soil is incredibly rich in nutrient, okay? And they've been growing it for over 15 years up there. It is not allowed to be grown in the U.S. It is still illegal to grow, but it is 100% legal to import. Okay?
And we're talking about a non-drug crop here. This is hemp with alpha THC. Yeah.
Right. There is no THC. It's 000 THC. They can go to the site and get that documentation. So it is just, we get that aside so people will know that there's no THC. It is a wonderful food. Once they start ingesting it, they probably will feel the best they've ever felt in their whole life because it is a magnificent, nutrient-dense food that the body is not used to getting.
I think you said injecting and you meant ingesting, or I just might have heard you wrong.
Yeah, ingesting, of course.
We want you to take this orally, folks, and that's really how it goes. Well, look, there's a long history. Maybe let's start briefly with that, if we could, Tom. There's a long history with thousands of uses for hemp, about 40,000 uses. This was farmed by Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. It was highly beneficial as an export product here from this country. What happened?
Well, what happened is the powers that be back then got together and knew that this crop would be a very competitive crop for what they wanted to do. They wanted to do chemically made and profitable items for themselves. They didn't want anything natural that was good for the environment. They wanted to make money on something that could be patented and protected. So what they did is they made sure there were no production facilities available in the U.S. from the 30s until now. So the hemp couldn't be produced or made into anything viable, and they made sure that they connected it to the marijuana plant so it couldn't be grown here legally. So it's basically the powers that be. You have the building industry, you have the pharmaceutical industry, you have the paper industry, you have the edible oil industry, pharmaceutical, everything, you name it. They all stop this from coming in because it is a builder of the immune system and a builder of good health.
And I think the last thing the elites want is to have us all running around with improved immune systems, Tom.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's obviously there's many, many powers against it. And if it was growing and it was incredibly grown in this area, I think the employment would be all the way down to the municipalities and everybody would be happy and secure and just be self-supportive.
You know, and the thing is, and you mentioned, you make a good point, hemp is easy to grow. It literally grows like a weed. Back when I was a kid, it would grow all over Indiana, all over the country, and that had to be eradicated, which, of course, gave Monsanto yet another contract.
Right.
So, I mean, but there's so many uses for it. Let's stick right now, because we have a limited amount of time for you, and this concerns your company.